morning and welcome to our Chiefs panel. I'm Brian Loddick. I'm over here at the 177th full-time and also the Vice President of the Airmen's Council. I'm here today with three amazing Chiefs. We have Chief Brun, Chief Beach, and Chief Fox. Thank you for your time today, guys. We're happy that you're here and able to take time out of your days. One of the things that the Chiefs had done in their meeting is they realized that they wanted to have candid, honest conversation with all of their airmen. And this was a good opportunity. With COVID and the way that things are right now, we wanted to do this in person, and we will eventually, but the biggest thing was that we were able to have honest conversation with questions that were relevant to what our airmen wanted to hear. So we did a poll on all of our Facebook groups with the councils. Thank you to everybody that gave input on that, because the biggest thing for us is that we have candid conversations and that these questions are relevant to what you want to know and hear. So today we get to spend some time with these three individuals, and they have over 90 years of experience together, which I won't try to age them, but that's a lot of experience, right? And one thing that I've learned in my career is that it's extremely important to learn from those that came before you. And whenever we have an opportunity to really learn from three individuals that have gone through what these three men have gone through, it's a great opportunity to learn and grow and really find out what we can learn and take away. So let's get started. Chief Brun, you're first up. Thank you for taking the plunge.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We have two pretty important questions for you. The first one is talking about careers, right? So as we age and as we go through our life and our career, we look back and reflect, and we go, hey, this went really well, or hey, I wish I could have done this. So for you, one of the questions is there anything in your career that you wish you would have done or could have done differently had you been given the opportunity?
Well, for me personally, and I know this is harder for technicians and for DSGs, it's a little easier for AGRs, but I would have liked to have had the opportunity to move around some in my career. I've had really two AFSCs. Years ago, I was in NDI, and then I transitioned into contracting, and then I was kind of stuck there, if you will, as a technician. I didn't have an opportunity to move around. I think moving around gets you visibility throughout the wing. You get to see more people, and I think you get to be exposed to different parts of the wing, which can only help your career. And when you're moving around and thinking about things, try to challenge yourself. Get outside of your comfort zone. Do some things like learn money. That's a very important part of what you need to think about and do out here. So not just the personnel side, but how does the money work? Again, not something that I was able to do. I think some technicians, it is easier depending upon your AFSC. I think 3Ds have an opportunity to move around more so than maybe a 6C like I was. But I guess that would be the one thing that I wish I did differently.
Nobody's perfect, right? So we're all human, and through that, we make mistakes. The next question has to do with credibility. So can somebody come back from a hit against their credibility as an airman? And what kind of examples would you give that they can do in order to help that?
I just from some personal experience, I think absolutely you can come back from the hit. I would kind of qualify that with depending on kind of what that hit is. You know, the career killers out here, you know, sexual harassment, EEO, things of that nature. So, you know, personal experience, I was a first sergeant, and I worked with an individual through a curtailment of their AGR. It was tough, just weren't performing. And then I had a visit with the chief and placed this person somewhere different within the wing, flourished. Promoted to master sergeant, I think now, and is now back as a career AGR. They were just the wrong fit for the position that they were in. Now, he went out gracefully too, you know, he understood the situation, so that made it easier for him to transition somewhere else. But absolutely, you can make an adjustment or overcome something early in your career. The other thing that I would like to say about LORs, LOCs, sometimes people think those are punishment when really they're course corrections. It's an opportunity for somebody to maybe be emphasized on a deficiency, and it's not necessarily a punishment, it's just something that we want to make sure that you're aware of and that you course correct. And of course, we don't want to have repeat offenders. If it's the one instance and we talk about it and we move on and there's no other instance, I think absolutely a person can move on from an early mistake, if you will, in their career.
Chief Beach, you're next up. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for your time. Your questions go hand in hand, so it'll be a two-part. The first one is it's regarding leaders, so not only current leaders, but leaders coming up and where we see our areas of opportunity. So the first question is, what is an area of opportunity for the next generation of leaders? So when you see leaders that are up and coming and the young airmen, what do you feel is something we should look out for that we need to improve upon?
What I would say is the biggest thing is communication. And everybody says communication, but I'm talking more verbal communication. The next generation of leaders are very good, which this will tie into the next question, are very good at the social media, at texting, at instant messaging. What they're not so good at, from past experience, is eye contact and facial expressions and walk around the corner to actually have a conversation with somebody. I think that's a place where there is great opportunity. I'm being old school to some degree. I would rather walk down the hall and have a conversation than send somebody an email. Too many times I've seen an email or a message go out that the intent was very benign, but when you read it out loud or you went around the corner and said, "Hey, did you actually read that email?" "Well, yeah, this is what I meant." That's not how it came off. So you don't get the visual cues when you send an email, when you send an instant message. So I think that's something that the younger generation can improve upon. And in addition to that, if you don't build those relationships other than instant message or text or email, there is not the likelihood that you will get the same responses. When you know somebody in finance, or you know somebody in FSS, or you know somebody in recruiting, and you reach out to them, you're probably going to have a better luck at getting a response or getting the follow through on whatever problem you have. If it's just an email, we get a ton of emails and messages a day. And once they scroll off to the bottom of the screen, they just seem to get forgotten sometimes. So that's what I would say. I think there's a great opportunity to build better communication, more face-to-face.
And then question number two, that goes hand in hand with that, is what is one thing the next generations of leaders are bringing? What are they bringing to the table that we may have been missing in the past?
So this ties directly into that. What I believe that the next generation of leaders is their ability to mass communicate. I would say that the other chiefs on this panel would agree with me to some degree that I am not great at email. I'm not great at instant messaging. I am kind of the old school. I'd rather walk down the hall, walk across the street, and have a face-to-face conversation. But being able to blend those two things is hugely important in being a good leader, because the people they are leading, that is how they communicate, greatly. The being able to blend that and then maybe educate even the younger than the new techs and masters, educating the airmen and senior airmen that it's important to have both. I believe that's what they bring to the table, is the ability to mass communicate.
Last but certainly not least, Chief Fox, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. So your two will have to do with resilience and talent management. So the first one is regarding Chief Bass. So she has been very vocal about talent management and the importance of retaining airmen. So in any organization, it's extremely important that we retain talent, right? What is the Guard and the Wing doing to not only retain traditional Guardsmen, but also AGRs and technicians?
Well, I believe a lot of people don't realize that you just don't walk into the 184th and become an AGR technician. We're all traditional Guardsmen at some point in time, and some go back to that. So to retain good talent is we bring them on to the AGR programs and the technician programs, so we can utilize those people to organize, train, and equip our traditional Guardsmen. So that's kind of the incentive, is to have that, potentially 20, 25, 30-year career out here to make this place run smoothly. So I would say that's the incentive, and that where it ties into the talent management piece of it. Now, when you're on board, you're obviously no different than anybody else. You want to be challenged and things like that to stay around. So we make a point to people want opportunities to go TDY, to get some experience, NGB or something, one of those things that they can bring that information and help out this organization. So obviously not every single person gets that opportunity, but as leaders, we need to find those people that are willing to do that and go out and take an opportunity. And it kind of resets them sometimes, kind of get away from here, and they come back and they're like, yeah, I really miss this place. This is a great place to be, and we really enjoy the people around us. I know in our group, we make a point to we sit down, and like everybody else, we do ACAs, but we really pride ourselves on everybody has a game plan. There's we call it a flight plan. You have the ordinary everyday points you have to hit, your PME, your time and grade, time and service. That's all obviously the things everybody knows, but it's worth the pieces in between there to keep you motivated. So we make sure somebody, an airman, we say, hey, these are the areas you need to focus on. These are the areas you need to go have experience in an organization to get you to your end game, where you want to be at, and when your career follows up. So that's kind of how we manage that.
And then going into number 2, kind of following up on that, is resilience. So we're going through COVID right now, and I know one thing we've wanted to do is really do these in person as well, so we make do with what we have. So regarding resilience, what have we as a group done to help maintain the resilience of our airmen and during these hectic times? And then secondly, what are our airmen doing to remain resilient as individuals as well?
I think during the times for what we're going through right now, I can't speak for the entire wing. I can speak for our group, which is we have some challenges. We've got over 100 people that's running a 24/7 operation. We got back shop support, and obviously we have people sitting side by side day in and day out fighting the war. So it's been a challenge. I think one of the things that we was very good about was okay, we have to mitigate this at the mission level. So we went out of our way to shake crews up, come up with new ways to shift schedules around so we don't have our footprint is decreased. We let people have the opportunity to, based on their childcare needs. There's somebody, that was a huge issue for us. Is we've got, like I said, this is a 380 some people group, and a lot of people have children, and we all can't be on top of each other, and a lot of people's children were at home, so we adjusted schedules. We let people telework. We took advantage of everything we possibly could to make sure that not only we was be able to execute the mission, but it maintain a peace of mind that they was still part of this team. But even though they may not have been here, or their shift may have been a little different, or may not been, their shift may have been at home, or their shift may have been from 2 to 10 o'clock at night, based on what worked for their specific lifestyle. So I think overall we executed that pretty well, and I think that helped people maintain their resiliency. And I think we're starting to see the fruits of our labor, because I also believe, I think we also come to find out that being here was a big part of that resiliency. When you're stuck at home for hours and days on end, people go stir crazy, especially people in our career or our line of work, our profession. We want to be in the mix of things. We want to be part of something, and we truly found out that, hey, this is important for these people to be here. Let's just not shun everybody at home, but let's make what we have work and keep people safe out here. So
Thank you for that, Chief. Chiefs, thank you so much for your time today. We have thoroughly enjoyed your input today, and I know that's going to be very beneficial for everybody else. We also want to say thank you to the councils and for giving their input and resources to us. And then lastly, to those of you that gave your questions for us directly so we could give you something meaningful to give back. And we also want to make sure that moving forward, if you have questions, make sure you give those out. There's 2 ways you can do that. First, you can email them to Master Sergeant Schmeidler, or you can go to the Facebook group. So it's the 184th Enlisted Council Facebook group, and go ahead and just put a post or a comment in there. We will take those questions and then gather them for future reference. Again, thank you for your time today, and we appreciate you following along.